Before we jump into today's show, I just wanted to let you know that I have got a brand new 3-part audio series available to download right now. If you head over to donnaeade.com/3-part audio, that's all one word, no spaces, you can download your How to Build Your Authority with Podcasting audio series. This is going to address guesting and hosting. So if you're interested in either of those and you want to know how to build your authority, head over to donnaeade.com/3-part audio. The link will be in the show notes. You're listening to the Mindset and Action Podcast, the place to be to grow and streamline your business. I'm your host, Donna Eade. Let's jump into the show. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We're here for another mini Mindset Monday with the lovely Vivienne Joy. Welcome to the podcast, Viv.
Hello.
Right, we are today talking about showing up for ourselves in our lives, in our business, in every way. I think a lot of times we can be a little shy about stepping forward and being present and being seen. So there's a whole lot there that I know Viv will love to dive into. So Viv, talk to us about showing up for ourselves.
A little shy. I mean, understatement of the century. Honestly, that's hilarious. A little shy, freaking terrified. That's probably more accurate. A little, and I just want to take that phrase, Donna. It couldn't be any more accurate. And I don't think you knew because you have no idea what I'm going to say. But a little shy is the little shy. It's the little part of us. So typically when we are scared to show up for ourselves or for anyone, actually, it's because there's a smaller, younger part of us that's just a bit scared. Think about a 6-7-year-old version of yourself. And if you're listening, you can play along. That version of you wouldn't have known how to show up for themselves. That's not what we learn until we get a bit older. And even then, some people never learn it, actually. So therefore, they never can do it. But actually, we didn't know how to stand up for ourselves. And we were talking about asking for what you want. We didn't know how to do that. Then if we were knocked back, we didn't do that. So that's showing up for ourselves. We don't like doing. Think of times when you laid in bed reading because it was nice and safe. That's quite typical for children, or playing on their own because they didn't want to ask anybody. So we get really scared. Like the inner child spends a lot of its time is scared. The inner child is what I'm coaching typically in scared business owners or career people, whoever I'm coaching. It's very rarely the adult self that's scared, because the adult is like, well, I want to achieve this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to, this is how it's going to feel. Whereas the inner child is scared of being visible. So it's the inner child that's scared of coming on a podcast. So if you're listening to this, you think, oh, I'd love to be interviewed by Donna. Your inner child will probably go, what have you got to say? You couldn't possibly go on there. People might laugh at you. And that might come back to something that happened in childhood where you stood up and, doing the times tables. Like, I don't think they do it in school anymore, but my God, I've got like real problems from doing my 7 times table. I freeze after 3 sevens. I kid you not. I get to 21, 28, and then I thought, oh no, 35. I can do it a bit now. 42. Oh no, I can. But anything after that, I lose the plot because somebody laughed at me and I made that mean that I was no good at maths. As it was, I went on to go into accounting, which is quite hilarious. But so something we've had somewhere in our past makes us scared to not show up as ourselves, which of course we have to do in business, to show up as our business because we're not confident in what we're doing, show up at the right price maybe. So there's a whole load of not showing up for ourselves. It's a massive subject, Donna. We can talk for hours on this. This is our inner self that's scared. It's our inner self. And now for anybody that doesn't understand in a parent-child and adult states, the inner child, typically, not always, but most of the time, the inner child is scared because like children are. And then what happens is a slightly older outer child comes to protect that. So it could be that you're the sort of person that says, oh, I'm not doing it. It's their loss. I'm not going to do it. That's not an adult state, because an adult state has no emotion in that way. That is typically an outer child state. I don't know about you, mine's about 14, and she was a gutsy, don't mess with her, let's put it that way. She will just rip you down a peg or two. So my 14-year-old is very feisty, very bombastic, very outspoken, because she's protecting the 12-year-old who was really badly bullied through school. And that 12-year-old is just terrified of everybody and everything. And still at 52, that happens, and I have to talk to both versions of myself like that. I know my 12-year-old is scared. Oh, you know, that when we're talking about getting to next level of business, like the inner child goes, what? No, 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 no. I've just got used to this level. This level was hard enough. Like the adult had to desert me. Like you didn't go and do all the stuff you were going to do for the child. Like you didn't have the fun and didn't take care of yourself. And like as if you had a real child, it's the same concept. So that poor little inner child is going, no, you've deserted me enough. Don't go to another level. I'll see less of you. I'll get less of you. You won't give me any attention. And what that is that level of fear inside you. So that outer child is the one that's saying, I'm going to do it anyway. There's a lady, I won't mention her name, and she helps people with video, but her herself, that whole business is being run by her outer child. I watch her, she's like, I'm this and I'm that. And I'm like, no, you're not. But your outer child is, you know, that inner child is really hating on this, and you're making her do that. It's like, I don't know if you had any, I didn't have any brothers or sisters as I grew up. But if you've got an older brother or sister, it'd be like getting the younger sister was really shy, and then the older brother who was really, really bombastic, and you're sort of stuck between them as the adult going, blimey, what's going on here? Like I've got one that's terrified and one that's making me do things, and I'm sitting there going, what? So yeah, it's a bit of a mind mess, it's fair to say. A lot of NLP processes we do. We've got one that is all about getting that inner balance. So working out all these parts of yourself. So if we've got fear and we've got, you know, excitement going on, sometimes it's very confusing. We've got an internal battle. So that inner conflict. So we've got a process that very quickly sorts that out, because typically all parts of you want the same thing. They're just scared of it or they're excited by it, and there's a whole load of stuff going on. So yeah, big answer to that question, Donna. But that's, you know, a little shy is usually I'm really scared, and it will show up like that. One of the best public speaking talks I ever saw was a lady called Kat. It was years ago, and there was a woman. It was a women's only conference. There was about 400 women in the audience, and this girl Kat, she was, you could tell she was nervous, and she got onto the stage and it went silent. And I was thinking, oh, blimey. And at the time, I was thinking, I mean, it was a long time ago. I don't think I'd ever spoken on a big stage like that. And I was thinking, blimey, she must be terrified. And she just leant forward and went, wow, you're all a bit scary. And we all laughed, and it broke the energy. It was almost like she gave herself permission, her inner child, to say, actually, I'm scared. And every woman in the audience connected with that, went, yeah, you would be, I would be. And that completely changed everything. She got into her adult state and delivered her talk. So I thought that was really powerful, because we don't allow this showing up for ourselves. We don't allow that version of ourselves. And even if we do, then we get called a hot mess, or, you know, we've got all this trauma that we shouldn't show. Everyone's got it, and if they haven't, they're in denial and they're hiding it, and they've got it cut, you know, trapped in a box waiting to get in. But, you know, anybody that's had a life has had experiences that weren't positive. That, you know, it's impossible to go through life where everything's positive. So yeah, that's why is we're scared. We're scared of judgment, where we were judged at school for having the wrong shoes on, or having the wrong hair. Like I'd always had curly hair, believe it or not. I straighten it within an inch of its life now, and have done since an experience I had when I was 19. You know, we're scared of being too fat, too slim, too studious, too fun, too rebellious, too tall, too short. I mean, you know, you name it. We have this kind of wanting to fit in, because then no one picks on us. So no good in business. We need to be picked on, because we need to be picked, right? So it's a really tricky one. Very, very hard balance in business, because we need to stand out instead of blending in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how we take like things that actually other people would like kill for. Like, you know, I would love to be like that. And that would be the one thing that a person is actually trying to hide from the world, because they think they shouldn't be as out
Yeah.
there. And
One of my programs, my Thrive Tribe, there's a lady there who's really good at expressing her emotions. Like she can really cry. She can start crying and finish crying. It's like she's really good at crying. And that sounds weird, doesn't it? But she's really allows it. Like there's no, oh, I shouldn't be crying. You know, like some people cry and they're trying to wipe their tears away, or they won't allow it. She's really good at crying. And of course, I noticed this. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, one of the ladies said to her, I really value how you're able to cry. I want to model that behavior, which is lovely for me as an NLPer, because that's what it's all about.
yeah.
But it's true, whereas others just don't even allow it. They'll
Yeah.
just go, oh my God, I'm just going to cry. I'm near to tears. And they'll sort of going through this all little kind of, you know, looking up and flapping their face, like they're trying desperately to avoid that emotion.
Yeah.
Where we connect with, yeah, I know, right? We connect with real emotion. Like it's emotional, we're allowed to be emotional too, and it's really powerful.
Yeah.
So that's showing up for ourselves, is showing up as ourselves, not for ourselves. as ourselves. And also, just going to add this on before we go, because if we're not showing up as ourselves, doesn't matter how anyone feels about us, we don't believe it. Because if we show up as someone else and not ourselves, and someone likes us, we still don't think they like us because they don't know us. That little head will say, but if you really knew the real me, you wouldn't like me. In which case, you can't win. That's where loneliness comes from.
Yeah.
That's where solitude comes from. Because even if we're surrounded by people, if we're not being ourselves and showing up as ourselves, no one can ever like us.
Embrace the real you, guys. Fabulous.
And the real everybody else. If we all just embraced each other and understood each other for being different, nobody'd have this problem, would they?
Oh gosh, that's a
All
whole
judgy.
another can of worms, isn't it?
Judgy Judy, that's what we are. We're all judgy because
Yeah.
our brain has to seek where we're not safe. That's why we judge. So it'll always
Yeah.
happen. It says,
Yeah.
I don't ever judge people. I'm like, well, your brain doesn't seek safety then. And I don't know a brain that doesn't. So somebody's lying somewhere.
Yeah,
Or your brain doesn't
absolutely.
work.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Viv. As always, Viv's information is in the show notes. Go connect with her. Go join a Facebook group. Go and get on the free networking. Maybe I'll see you there. I didn't get a chance to go to the last one, so I'm hoping to get to this one. Yeah, we will see you in the next Mini Mindset Monday, which will be like, oh my goodness, we're like almost in December, guys. This is crazy. But yes, we are getting close, and we have a couple of special episodes coming up towards Christmas as well. So you don't want to miss those. So make sure you subscribe where you listen, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.